All right, it's May 5th. I'm at the Blackwater River Farm today. Been busy and honestly haven't been here as much as I really needed to do this off season. But I've been working on transitioning from 9-to-5 job to my construction company, which is very good construction, and it actually finances and funds a lot of what we do here at Whitetail Dimension. So I've been focusing on that a little bit, but today had a chance to get out here and look at this food plot, and I did this plot kind of half and half. I was more beans and peas, which the peas didn't come up too really that great, but beans and peas and oats and rye and stuff on this side, and I was pretty heavy with brassica on this side, which you can see it's about to go to seed. But at the same time, I had also frost seeded clover in with all this, and I really have a really good establishment of clover underneath all the weeds and the old brassica that's kind of going to seed. I don't know if that's I think that's the radish, that tall light green stuff. But I have a pretty well established clover plot here now, and I'm going to spray out some of the weeds and overseed in some more clover in the bare spots, and I think I'm going to have a nice clover plot here this year. I'm also going to get in a little habitat work today if I have time. Kind of came across a disappointing little find here. Let me switch the camera. These two flagged. There's actually 4 of them here. They're persimmon trees that I flagged last year as a don't hit it with the bobcat or skid steer, you know, make sure I tried to protect them. They were kind of pitiful looking last year, but they did have persimmons, and now it appears that they're dead. So I don't know what's going on with that, but pretty disappointing. And there's a couple persimmon trees here that I had identified last year too. They're also on the edge of this plot, and they don't have any green on them. So I don't think it's something I've done to cause it, and I hope it's not. And maybe it could be that they just we did have an April frost, and maybe that got them, but they sure look dead. I'm gonna just let them go and see if they recover. But anyway, let's spray this plot. Okay, I'm just doing this with a 1-gallon sprayer, and I'm gonna systematically go up and back and up. I can cover about 5 or 6 feet at a time. You know, last fall when I frost seeded in this clover, I couldn't have predicted the drought we're having this spring, but kind of making me look like a genius, because I've got knee-high, well, they're behind me. Let me turn the camera. I've got knee-high clover in there, and that, you know, all this, you know, stalky old brassica stuff and the weeds that have kind of taken over on the other side has really nursed and kind of shaded this clover, and it is, I'm just pretty happy with that. On the home farm, I went in, well, it would probably been about 3 weeks ago, or yeah, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and my plots like this, I mowed all that, you know, tall brassica stuff. I had similar thing, you know, I had clover coming up, you know, that was frost seeded in with the fall food plot, and I think it may have been better just to leave it. Okay, back here at the duck pond, I actually jumped a couple ducks off there when I walked over here. But while that herbicide's drying over there, before I seed in some more clover, I'm going to work on a little bedding area back in behind this this pond dam. There's a little oak island right in there. Looks like there's some bedding that goes on in there, and definitely bedding in this general area, but that's a spot where I can hinge over a few trees and improve the bedding. Well, about 30 minutes and all the juice in that battery of that electric pole saw there. But I got a pretty decent little bedding area here. I could get in here with the gas chainsaw, and there's a few more I'd like to get, but I'm gonna call that good for today. But this is in between pond dam of the duck pond, and then pretty swampy back over there. Holds water when this floods, and this actually will hold water if it gets a really good flood, but this stays pretty well dry. And then back in there, it's a little island. It's just a foot or two higher than the rest of it, and there's a few pin oak trees and some stuff in there. So I think this would be a pretty attractive spot for maybe a buck to bed. Hopefully the does will bed all up in there around the duck pond, a little closer to the food plot, and this could be a buck spot. And I've got stand over there, stand over here, so I can hunt this movement. It's a narrow piece of property, so you know, if you're on the outside edge somewhere, you're going to catch movement. But I think this is a pretty decent little bedding area. I'll call it good for today. Okay, I'm going to seed in some more clover. Certainly not sponsored by either of these companies, or anyone for that matter, but I had good luck with both of these last year. Whatever clover I have this year is because of these two products that I used. So got a half-acre plot back in there. Good establishment of clover already. So one of these packages is a half-acre. You know, I'll do a half or a third of one of these bags into that half-acre. Hit a little heavier in the bare spots, and when we get some rain and I get a good kill on the weeds and grass I sprayed, it's going to have a darn good clover plot there. Oh yeah, and the trophy rock. Again, certainly not sponsored, but that's actually a product I've been using for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. And you can definitely get a picture of every velvet buck you got over one of those. Whether it actually makes racks bigger, you know, I can't say. Just kind of anecdotal evidence on the farms that I hunt, it kind of seems like they do. But I'm gonna drop that rock back in there, put a camera on it. Okay, so these are the kind of bare spots I'm trying to fill in. I talked about getting a soil sample on all my food plots this year. It didn't happen. It's probably not going to happen. You know, as I said earlier, concentrating on my construction company. But I added lime to this last year just because I just assumed it was low pH. But this looks pretty good. Like, that's a good stand of clover, and the pH may not have been as bad as I thought. So just going to seed into some of these bare spots and go with it. All right, last chore of the day. I'm going to clear out and keep this maintained. I've already weed eated it once, but we have a nice little campsite down here on the Blackwater River. River is super low. You know, it'd be nice if it was up, I don't know, 8 or 10 feet. Fishing would probably be a lot better, but we haven't camped down here yet, but we plan on it. A nice little trail to walk down to some fishing spots down that way. Nice little flat spot for a tent or a little camper. fire. This would be the spot for a fire, but I'm just going to clean it up. You know, clear the trail just a little bit back here. Not going to get too crazy. But again, whitetail dimension is, the future is bright, but we just didn't get as much done this year. Like I said, I'm transitioning over from a sort of a 9-to-5 type job to full-time construction company, which is what I have done before. But anyway, very good construction right now is funding whitetail dimension, so need to focus on that a little bit. But construction company is something I will eventually retire from. Whitetail dimension I'll do I'll do till I'm dead. So that's the difference in the two. And whitetail dimension, the future is bright, and the construction is good too, but whitetail dimension is the passion.